"You smell like old people." She didn't whisper it. She didn't pull me aside. No, she said it with a smirk, standing just far enough away to pretend it wasn't meant for me, but loud enough for the whole locker room to hear. I was zipping up my gym bag when the words hit me. Sharp, casual, public, and everyone laughed. Even her friends, the ones who nodded when she used to call me Miss J, now covered their mouths and giggled like middle school girls. I didn't turn around, didn't flinch, didn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction. But inside, I burned. Her name is Jenna, mid-20s. Gym regular, always in perfect athleisure, always filming her workouts. One of those girls who calls everyone babe, but only means it half the time. We used to talk. She once asked me for help adjusting a squat bar. Then we started saying hi every morning. She even invited me for smoothies once, called me her favorite gym aunt. I didn't think we were close, but I thought at the very least she respected me. I thought wrong. The perfume I wear is soft, powdery, a little warm. The same kind my mother wore when I was growing up. It's never loud, never trendy. But it's me. It smells like Sunday mornings and handwritten letters. It smells like tradition and quiet confidence. It smells like women who've survived things no one talks about. I've worn it for years through marriage, motherhood, loss, and laughter. It's the only thing that's stayed with me through every version of myself. But to Jenna, it smelled like a joke. I drove home in silence that afternoon. No music, no news, just the hum of the road and the echo of her words. "You smell like old people." As if being old was something shameful. As if wisdom had a stench. I stood in my bathroom, later looking at myself in the mirror. Hair tied back, face flushed from working out. Wrinkles I've earned. I picked up the bottle, the same one that sat on my vanity since before Jenna could drive. Sprayed once on my wrist. Inhaled. No, I didn't smell like old people. I smelled like memory, like dignity, like a woman who's seen things and lived through them. But more than anything, I smelled like someone who deserved better than laughter behind her back. I could have snapped, could have fired back loud and clever. But what would that have done? It would have made me look bitter, defensive, small. And I'm none of those things. No! I'm something else. I'm dangerous in the quiet, patient in the face of ignorance, and calculated when it counts. So instead of shouting, I smiled, because I already knew exactly what I was going to do. She thought her words were funny, that I'd walk away feeling embarrassed, that I'd question my worth, or my scent, or my presence in that gym. What she didn't realize, I wasn't offended. I was awakened. And women like me, we don't clap back with noise. We answer with elegance. Jenna didn't start out mean. In fact, she started out sweet. Funny, charming in that chaotic Gen Z way. Full of story times and emojis, and emotional transparency that felt refreshing. I first met her in the stretching area of the gym. I was fumbling with a resistance band trying to get my shoulder to cooperate when she plopped down next to me and said, "God, if I survive this week, it'll be a miracle." She wasn't talking to me directly, just releasing words into the air. I smiled. One of those weeks, she turned her head and smiled back. Every week feels like one of those lately. That was it. Our first real interaction, small, natural, harmless. Over the next few weeks, we started chatting more. Small things, workout tips, shoes, water bottle brands. She noticed I brought my own lemon slices. I noticed she changed her hair color every 2 weeks. Then one day she handed me her phone and said, "Can you take a picture of me doing squats?" My angles suck. I did. And after reviewing the photo, she said, "Miss J, you're hired. You actually know how to make me look strong." That's the first time she called me Miss J. It stuck. I didn't mind it at the time. It felt respectful, like a nickname with affection attached. Soon we were working out together. She'd wave at me across the gym, make room on the mat next to hers, and sometimes just collapse beside me, mid-core workout, laughing like we were teenagers. "Your calm energy keeps me sane," she said once. "You remind me of my favorite aunt," she said another time. But like, cooler, less aprony. It was strange being seen like that by someone so young. My own daughter lived in another state. We talked once a week, maybe less. Jenna filled that gap in a way I hadn't realized I missed. She started opening up more. About her boyfriend troubles, about her career anxiety, her strained relationship with her mother, and I listened. I asked questions. I offered advice when she asked, and only when she asked. She once cried on my living room couch after a brutal breakup. I made her tea. We watched a documentary together. She fell asleep under my old knit blanket. "I love how you smell," she mumbled drowsily. "Like cinnamon and home." I told her it was my mother's perfume. I'd worn it every day since the day Mom passed. It made me feel like she was still near. Jenna nodded, said, "I get it. That's beautiful," and I believed her. The deeper we got into that strange little gym friendship, the more I allowed myself to open up. I told her about my ex-husband, about raising kids without a playbook, about my struggle with loneliness after my nest had emptied out. She called me real, said I was raw in a way that was refreshing, said, "You're honestly the only older woman I've ever looked up to." Again, I believed her. But looking back now, there were signs. The way she laughed a little too hard when she showed me TikToks about cool grandmas. The way she introduced me to a new gym member as the wise woman who adopted me at Planet Fitness. The way she once joked, "You're like a living Pinterest board for nostalgia." I brushed it off, told myself she was quirky, playful. But now I know. She didn't admire me. She fetishized me. I wasn't a person to her. I was a vibe, a look, a cute, harmless aesthetic. The shift came slowly. She started showing up to our workouts less. Then not at all. Only text. Then fewer text. Then only tags on posts memes about aging about being washed, but wise always with a lol Miss J vibes caption. Then came the new friends, younger, sharper, always in the mirror with her. And then one day, I walked into the locker room and she didn't even acknowledge me. That was the day it all made sense. She had gotten what she wanted. Access, validation, warmth, and just enough proximity to an older woman to make herself feel more grounded. But now that she had an audience, now that she had new people watching, she didn't need me anymore. She needed me out of the frame, so when she said it, "You smell like old people," she wasn't being careless. She was being deliberate. She knew exactly what she was doing, mocking me, distancing herself, reasserting dominance in front of her new crowd. And that's why it hurt. Not because it was mean, but because it proved I had never really been seen. I had been useful, entertaining, an accessory to her own image of herself. But I was never real to her. And that's when I made peace with one thing: she didn't deserve the version of me she'd gotten. The generous one, the soft one, the one who made room. Now she was going to meet someone else. The version of me who doesn't speak to prove a point. The one who doesn't explain herself. The version who knows silence can be more piercing than any insult. 2 days after the locker room incident, I walked into the largest department store in town. The kind with marble floors and perfume counters, so polished, they reflect your shoes back at you. The kind Jenna loved tagging herself in on Instagram. I wasn't there to browse. I was there with intent. A young sales associate in a black blazer greeted me with practiced brightness. "Looking for something special today?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. "I want the most popular perfume among women in their 20s. Something modern. Something they post about." Her eyes lit up. "Oh, I know just the thing." Of course she did. She led me to a sleek mirrored shelf lined with pink and beige bottles, each one perfectly Instagrammable. She picked one up and held it out like it was treasure. "This one's everywhere right now. Floral light, youthful. Influencers love it." And there it was. The same bottle I'd seen in Jenna's stories countless times. The one she called her signature scent. The one she once held up to the camera and said, "This is what confidence smells like." I smiled. "Perfect. I'll take it. Can you gift wrap it, please?" "Absolutely," she chirped. As she rang me up, I wrote a small note on one of their store cards. Just a few words. Polite, measured. For someone who knows what youth smells like. No signature, no message beyond that. She placed the card in the box, sealed the wrapping, and handed it to me with a ribboned flourish. I mailed the gift to Jenna the next morning. I didn't include my name. I didn't need to. She'd know. And more importantly, she'd wonder. That was the point. I didn't want revenge. I wanted presence. I wanted her to sit with the weight of my silence, to unwrap the box, see that familiar bottle, and feel the chill behind the smile. I imagined her holding it in her hands, confused for a second, then realizing exactly who it was from, and I imagined her smiling, because Jenna would see it as a win. Later that day, her Instagram lit up. A video. Her usual smirk. The familiar pink perfume bottle in her hand. "Guess being rude pays off," she said with a wink, holding the bottle close to her cheek. The caption read, "When the haters gift you your fave scent. Stay jealous, stay scented." The comments flooded in. "OMG queen behavior. Teach me how to get free gifts like this. Old people could never." I watched the reel twice, then turned off my phone. I didn't feel anger, not even disappointment. I felt satisfaction. Because she thought she'd won. She thought she'd shamed me into submission, and now I was crawling back with gifts. But what she didn't know, this wasn't a peace offering. It was a mirror. I knew Jenna. She wouldn't think deeply about it, at least not at first. She'd laugh post-bask in the attention. But later when the attention dimmed and she was alone, she'd wonder, why did I send that? Was it sarcasm? Was it grace? Was it pity? And every time she sprayed that perfume, she'd think of me. That scent she worshipped now carried a message. A reminder that she couldn't erase me with one sentence. That the woman she laughed at still moved through the world with dignity. That her mockery had not broken me, it had focused me. Sometimes power isn't in being right. It's in being unbothered. It's in letting someone reveal their character loudly while you remain still. I let her post, let her collect her dopamine hits, because I knew the real ending was still coming. This was just Act 2, and Act 3, that one, would be hers to sit with. It was a Wednesday morning when I walked back into the department store. Same marble floors, same scent of polished wood and floral spritz, same glass counters gleaming under too bright lighting. Only this time, I wasn't there to purchase. I was there to return. The young sales associate recognized me instantly. Her smile brightened with that familiar retail sparkle. "Back for more?" she asked. "Actually," I said, placing the bag on the counter gently, "I'd like to return this." Her perfectly arched eyebrows lifted. "Oh, was there something wrong with the product?" "No," I said. "It's quite popular, isn't it?" She nodded. "Very. It's our best seller." I smiled. "Exactly. That's why I bought it." Then I paused, letting her lean in curiosity rising. "But it turns out," I continued softly, "I don't need to smell like her. Not anymore." She blinked. There was a flicker of something in her eyes, recognition maybe. She opened the bag, saw the pristine, untouched box, still in its pink ribbon wrapping. My note was gone. Jenna had kept it. I figured she would. The salesgirl didn't ask any more questions. She processed the return, tapped a few keys, and printed out the receipt. As she handed it to me, she said almost conspiratorially, "I remember you. You said this was a gift." I nodded. "Changed your mind?" "Not exactly," I said. "I just changed my boundaries." She looked puzzled but intrigued, like she was catching the tail end of a drama she hadn't been invited to, but wished she had. I left the store lighter than I'd felt in days. Not because of the refund, I didn't care about the money, but because I'd taken something back. Not a product, not a gift, myself. I'd taken back the part of me that felt I needed to prove anything to someone like Jenna, the version of me that once wanted to be liked by girls who laugh in locker rooms. That night, I wrote a new card. Just a short line folded inside an empty perfume box. I returned it, because I realized I never needed what you chase. I didn't mail it. I didn't need to. Some things are better left unspoken, but still understood. Over the next few days, I went back to the gym. Quietly, as I always had. I saw Jenna once. She was walking out of a spin class, sweat-drenched, but camera-ready. She spotted me near the water cooler and froze. We made eye contact. She opened her mouth maybe to speak, maybe to pretend she hadn't seen me. But I just smiled. Not the kind of smile you give to strangers, not warmth, not coldness either. Just enough to say, I'm still here, and I'm still standing. She looked away first. The energy shifted after that. Little things. The girls who used to snicker, they didn't anymore. One of them, Alyssa, I think, actually held the locker door open for me a few days later. People notice when you carry yourself with quiet power. They may not clap, but they clear space. A week later, I saw someone had left a different bottle of perfume in the locker room, cheaper, flashy, aggressively floral. It sat abandoned on the bench. No one claimed it. I walked past it and smiled. Because once upon a time, I might have cared about the comparison. Now I knew better. Power doesn't always come from clapping back. Sometimes it comes from walking in, making a return, and walking out without fanfare. It comes from reclaiming your silence, from owning the scent of your life and refusing to trade it for a trend. And maybe, just maybe, it comes from watching someone try to make a scene, only to realize she's the only one left watching. I never raised my voice. Not once. I never clapped back on social media, never made a scene, never demanded an apology, and yet somehow I still won. Not because I broke her down, but because I built myself back up. The next few weeks were quiet, not awkward, just different. Jenna didn't bother me. She still showed up to the gym, still posted selfies, still acted like she ran the place, but she never looked at me the same way again. And I never looked at her at all, because I had nothing left to prove. The day I knew I was done thinking about her was the day I walked past her in the hallway and didn't even register her presence. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was simply uninterested. That's when you know you've healed. Not when you've forgiven, but when you're no longer invested in the offense. There's a kind of power in getting older that no one tells you about. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's steady. It's the power of walking into a room without needing to dominate it, of being so confident in who you are that mockery rolls off your back like perfume mist in the air. Not because it doesn't sting, but because it doesn't stick. My mother used to say, let them laugh. The ones who laugh the loudest often end up clapping the slowest. I never understood it as a teenager. Now I do. Jenna laughed. But in the end, she had nothing left to say. I still wear that same perfume. Every single day. And every time I spray it, I remember the woman who gave it to me. The lessons it carried. The life I've lived wearing it. It's not trendy. It's not youthful. It's not what influencers are chasing, but it's mine. And that makes it priceless. Jenna once said I smelled like old people. Now I know exactly what I smell like. I smell like survival, like softness that stood through storms, like strength that never needed to shout. I smell like history, and that scent, it lingers long after the perfume fades. Have you ever been dismissed for your age, your choices, your silence? Have you ever responded not with anger, but with dignity? Share your story below. Because the world doesn't always listen to the loudest voice. Sometimes it listens to the one that doesn't need to yell to be remembered.